My name is Ken Druck, and today I'd like to talk to you about how we go on. 26 years ago, that wasn't just simply a question in my life. My daughter Jenna, who was 21 years old, died while she was on a study abroad program on the road between Delhi and Agra, just minutes from the Taj Mahal, in a bus accident. And my life as I knew it ended when the phone rang telling me that this had happened. Everything changed in that moment. And I began a long journey of how we do go on and what happens to us with all the questions, with all the mysteries, with all the unknowingness, with all the brokenheartedness. And for 26 years, I've made it my life's work to survive the death of my daughter and to help other families that are dealing with similar kinds of losses, no matter how they occurred, as well as the living losses that we suffer when the future that we had a blueprint for falls apart, when we find ourselves standing in the ashes of Plan A, and we have no idea what Plan B begins to look like. We have no idea how to begin to start living into Plan B or Plan C or Plan D. So I welcome you to this short video where we're going to talk about kind of a code, a blueprint for how we go on that I call the 6 honorings. And this isn't something that I read in books or pulled out of my head. It's something that I have lived all these years, starting with the first honoring, survival. The first way we honor those we've lost is to survive their death. In the beginning, we have no idea, how can I possibly go on? How am I going to survive this? My heart is broken. It's like somebody ripped my heart out, and I'm supposed to just go on? No. My life as I knew it is over also. But then we begin to see that there's a part of us that has survived, a part of us that has not died, a part of us that is searching for the means, the strength, the courage, the faith, the understanding, the strength, the support to go on. Even though we discover immediately that we are walking with a limp in our heart. Even though we discover immediately that we are going to experience a brokenness. Our life and our plans for the future have been decimated. Everything has changed. And so we're going to be starting at ground zero. And if we're somebody who has learned how to survive, if we have strong abilities to be resilient, and we have a resilient spirit that has built up in us over the years, then we're going to start figuring out, maybe I need to take a walk just to the corner today. Maybe I need to allow myself to be supported, even if I'm a very self-reliant person. Maybe this is the time where if ever I needed support, I need to welcome it. If ever I needed to delegate instead of taking care of everything on my own, which I usually do, maybe I need to delegate and accept people's generosity And maybe I need in my survival package to limit what I usually do. Maybe I'm the type E person. I do everything for everybody else. And I don't have that luxury now. I need to take care of me. I need to focus on me. And that includes being around people who give me energy and who feel safe, who I don't have to take care of, but who are truly able to listen to support, understand me. And sometimes those are people in our families and our close friends. Sometimes it's a surprise. It's somebody who we didn't know well, who shows up in our life with divine timing to give us exactly the support that we need, the understanding, without the unsolicited advice, without the spin, the psychological or religious or spiritual spin, just somebody to be with us in a moment where we're also afraid we've not only lost somebody we love, but we're going to lose our world. We aren't going to be able to figure out how to live in the world and to go on with our own lives. So here we are in survival mode, having to figure out what, especially if we're not that resilient person who's ever stood in a moment of utter unknowingness, of utter brokenheartedness. If we're not that kind of person, and we are just utterly lost and drowning in choiceless pain and sorrow, how do we take care of ourselves? Where do we begin? So our survival and figuring out one breath at a time what it's going to take for us to get to the next breath, to the next hour, through half a day, through a full day, through an evening, how to get to sleep, how to wake up in the morning, how to go to work if we have to, how to function if we're a parent with our other children, with our spouse, how to go on with our own lives when the wind has been taken out of our sails. This is a major undertaking. Our survival is at risk. The line between our own life and death is very thin. And there are moments sometimes where we don't care. We're ashamed to admit it, but we just don't care the way we usually. We may have been living our lives with a great reverence and gratitude and living in the blessings of life. But at this moment, we just can't summon the sense of purpose and meaning for our life to go on. But knowing that the first way we honor the people we love is to survive their death, to summon, and I use that word again, to summon from within ourselves and within our faith and within the support that we're receiving, newfound courage and strength, faith and understanding, patience and permission, and maybe above all else, kindness towards ourselves, compassion towards ourselves. One of the most difficult elements of survival is the way we talk to ourselves so harshly. It may have worked in the past when we needed to motivate and push ourselves and even bully ourselves with harshness and criticism, but it doesn't work in grief. Self-compassion, patience and kindness, encouragement and support is what we need to survive. So the way we talk to ourselves is core to how we survive. The second honoring is that we begin to cultivate a spiritual relationship with the person we've lost. We look around, the phone isn't ringing, the future of being with that person is lost. and we begin to understand it's lost forever in the way that it has existed. But we also notice that the I love yous continue. The sorrow continues. The imaginings continue. We want to know where they are. What is the nature truly of this life and of death? Are they still with us? We can feel them. Their spirit is a part of us. But where are they? What's possible now? And all these questions exist in a spiritual, I call it the spiritual realm. 100 years ago, if you told somebody, send me an email, I'll meet you in cyberspace, we'll have a Zoom call, or go to my website, they would have locked you up and thrown the key away. What, you're going to meet somebody in a place that doesn't exist? Well, spirit space, a place that doesn't exist. It's a place where people of faith, that we meet and talk with God, that we search for life's meaning, that we commune with forces that we know are greater than us. But here we are. What do we do with this love, the love that never dies? Well, we express it in a spiritual realm. We continue relationship. Now, am I saying this because I know with 100% certainty what the true nature of life and death is? That there is a spiritual realm and we can talk and express and love and receive love and give love in a spiritual sense? No, I don't know that with 100% certainty. That's why they call it faith. We bet our faith. It's what we're hoping and praying and wishing for. And it's a place to give and receive the love that never dies, that we have for the person we lost. So do I say, I love you, Jenna, to my daughter, my angel daughter? I have an earth daughter and an angel daughter. Do I tell her I love her every day? Yes. Do I allow myself to feel her love? Whether it's, Dad, you're not going to wear that jacket. Or, Dad, good job. Do I allow myself to feel that in my imaginings, in my spiritual imaginings? Yes. Do I sometimes feel her close? Yes. Do I reach out for her? Do I continue my relationship with my daughter in the realm that it exists now, the mysterious element of the spiritual? Yes. And I would suggest that you consider the possibility of allowing yourself to express your love and to feel their love in this realm, whatever you want to call it, as part of how you honor and how you go on from here. Allow it. Give yourself permission, even without 100% knowing this, of how true it is and how real it is. Allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to experience whatever it is that gives you comfort and allows that love to live on. How we go on? The third honoring. To embody some element of their spirit. When we have celebrations of life and memorial services, what are they about? Well, it's the celebration of the qualities, the essence that they brought, their kindness, their irreverence, their sense of humor, their generosity of heart, their dedication, their intensity, their love, their kindness, whatever it is that we celebrate, whatever it is that for you is the most cherished part of your loved one's spirit, of their essence as a person, of their character. Embody it. You become more that way as you grow up. Embodying my daughter's love of life. Because every time I allow myself to think about what she did, what she had mastered, what I could learn from her, what part of her essence I wanted to be more of me. That's what I do. I aspire to become more of that because there's a divinity, there's a beauty, there's a deepening, there's me becoming the better version of myself when I allow myself to become more the way my daughter was, the way both my daughters are. You can also do that with, of course, with your earth child or children or beloveds. The fourth honoring. It's one of the most difficult. The fourth honoring is to begin writing new chapters of life. How we go on is by giving ourselves permission to live out our own lives, to live them through to completion, even though some part of us has been frozen in time. The rest of us has the ability, and if we allow it, can reimagine living out the rest of our lives. Writing new chapters. At first, I wouldn't allow myself to. How could I possibly go on when she did not have the ability to go on, when her journey in this life as we know it ended at age 21? What right do I have to go on with my life to write new chapters? Until for me, I realized I'm writing new chapters. That is what would give my daughter joy. That's the way I honor my earth daughter. You know, I had an experience of kind of Groundhog Day many years ago where I looked down, I woke up in the morning and I looked down two paths, and down at the end of one path were both of my daughters in despair, saying, my God, we should have buried Dad when we buried Jenna. We should have, because he quit, he gave up. The rest of his life, the central organizing principle was despair, hopelessness, emptiness. He left and he stopped being a father. He wrote nothing new, no new chapters of life. He lived no new chapters of life. And then I look down the other path and I see both of my daughters with joy in their eyes, saying, Dad, we know it was hard. We know you had to scrape yourself off the ground, but you lived on, you lived out the rest of your life and honored us by living out the rest of your life and writing new chapters and allowing your life to go on and to use the days of your life to create purpose and meaning and love, to continue your journey. Writing new chapters of life takes great courage. Going back into the realm of life and living on, but we can do that with the assurance that it would give the person we lost every measure of joy. See us fighting our way back into life and going on. How else we go on? Another way that we go on is to do something good in their name. What can we do in their name? In my life, I started a nonprofit foundation to help other families that suffered losses, and to also celebrate and to share what my daughter at age 16 had created, a girls' leadership program. And so we created the Jenna Druck Center. And for 18 years, that's what I devoted my life to. I realize after all that time that it's not what you do, it's that you do it. It's that you do something good in their name, whether it's lighting a candle, whether it's donating a scholarship money to something that they did and accomplished, whether it's helping a cause, that tied in some way to their death, whether they died of an illness or an injury that was preventable. It's you, it's sharing the love you have for the person you've lost by doing something good in their name, by making a contribution in this world and making a difference in their name. The sixth honoring is something that I learned in my work with all the 9/11 families. You know, the average age of the person who died on September 11th was 38, which often meant that there were small children at home, a wife, living parents who were aging but still very involved. And what started to happen in the rawness of grief, that's not uncommon in the rawness of grief and sudden loss and trauma, is that families started fighting and, you know, how come they're contacting you? Why aren't they contacting me? And a lot of families started tearing apart, as so tragically so many families do in the rawness of grief. At a moment where what do we need? We need to treat one another as a gesture of the love we feel for the person who's been lost. It's what they would want, not retribution, not anger and impatience, not fighting over what remained. They would want peace. They would want you to allow everybody a chance to heal and to grieve in their own way, not to be fighting, not to be at each other's throats. And so the sixth honoring, we called, and we started that program after 9/11 called Take the High Road. And the high road means you treat the people around you with the kindness and the love, the patience, the consideration, as a gesture of your love for the person you've lost. And you contain whatever it is. There might be age-old grudges and invitations to jealousy and fighting and resentment. You let it go. You put it on the side. You feed the side of you that wants peace and that's willing to bite your tongue occasionally. You'll notice I have scar tissue on mine. Sometimes that's the way forward. That's the way we go on. We don't go on by creating wars in our family and further pain and distance and disconnection. Those are the honorings. That is the way forward. And at the core of all of it, at the core of everything, every one of those honorings, is self-compassion, is taking a deep breath, is having faith that our brokenness is somehow mysteriously going to lead to a greater sense of wholeness, that brokenness and wholeness exist together, that it's by tending our wounds with kindness and patience, not criticism, not impatience, not judgment, that we find the path forward, that we hold the questions that are arising in us about life and death and going forward and how we go forward in this life and what's ahead and the decisions that await us, that they arise out of our kindness towards ourselves, our patience, our allowing those difficult questions to be held in soft hands, not intense hands. Instead of contracting around our pain, and allowing it to become the central organizing principle of our lives. We become the expanded version of us. We clear the path forward because we give ourselves permission and resources to process the sorrow. We allow ourselves to cry out when we need to. This is part of our survival. We don't try to hush ourselves. We don't try to form ourselves into something inauthentic and become the dumbed down version of ourselves. We become the expanded version of ourselves. I share these 6 honorings with you as an invitation, as a beginning. All of these things require hard work on your part, and kindness on your part, and support on your part, and allowing these mysteries, all this unknowingness, to be a part of your journey. And today was my opportunity to tell you that I hold you in my heart, you and your family. I share this note that I hope will be a note of encouragement and support for the days and the moments and the hours and the months and the years ahead. And I look forward to staying in touch with you, if that makes sense to you, and sharing the things that I've written, the things that I record, and even a phone call, perhaps, on this grief journey. Blessings.